We're here at the beautiful Paluxy River, just a few hundred feet from Big Rocks Park, here in Glen Rose, Texas, in the northern part of the state. And I've diagnosed the Paluxy before, but I thought I would make a little video of Big Rocks Park. They're not rocks, they're ancient concrete formations built by the advanced races who built the continents. The Paluxy riverbed was also built, and we can see the diagonal sectioning that the true ancients who built riverbeds, creek beds, mountains, and hills across the continents created. You see the 45-degree diagonal line there, the step down? Let's get a little closer so you can see it. See that 45-degree angle line across the river? Go nice and slow. It's hard to exit the mind control, so I'm going to do it nice and slow for you. Okay? Here's the question. Why do we consistently see 45-degree angle step downs in riverbeds and creek beds across the world? Because 45 degrees was the best angle for the true ancients, the advanced engineers who built hills across the continents, and as their foundations for those hills, built riverbeds and creek beds. So this riverbed is the foundation for hills on either side of it. It had to be strong. They used a 45-degree angle. That's their primary angle of construction, okay? They used other angles. For instance, you can see right here, there's a little short right angle across the river. That's basically a 90-degree just straight across the riverbed. Then you got some parallel lines. So this line runs parallel to the flow. Whenever I talk about angles, I'm talking about the flow. So that line runs parallel. So there are other angles, but the 45-degree angle line is the primary angle of construction of riverbeds and creek beds on continents across the planet, your planet, Terra. So it's time that you understand your planet's origins. It was not created naturally in some cataclysmic fit. It was created by advanced engineers. So we're going to go to Big Rocks Park and diagnose that. It's right over there. We're here at Big Rocks Park in northern Texas on Monday, April 8th, 2024. And we're here to diagnose the bizarre features that locals call rocks that the true ancients who built the continents created in this now modern day park. So let's have a look. So we have these features that are clearly remarkable, bizarre, bumps we could call them, quite deliberate on the part of the ancients, the true ancients who built the continents, but why in goodness name did they build these here? Now the Paluxy River is just beyond. It's off to the left, so perhaps these were flooding breaks. So when the river exceeded its banks, these features would slow the water down. Now I don't know if that's why they built them, but they are built. You can see the seams in the construction. See the seam? Let's get back from it a little bit so we can see it better. See it? On the left is one section of concrete, and on the right is another section of concrete. Now, the geologists would tell us that this line is a fracture. And they're telling us that this feature, this rounded feature, one of many here in Big Rocks Park, is fracturing apart. It's breaking apart. Oh my God, there's a fracture, it's breaking. Really. Do you see any sign of this coming apart? Or could we more reasonably, more logically, more rationally say that this line is a seam, like a seam in a garment? It's joining these two sections together. Now, I've said what I just said about 100 times in various videos documenting the terraforming of the true ancients who built the continents. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Now, if I was a 20-year-old blonde woman, I'd have 1 million followers for the continental terraforming theory, but it's just me, so hi. There's this interesting erosion pattern that happens all across the continents. I've seen this many times. I don't quite understand what it is and whether it actually is erosion. It's a sort of a scooping or gouging, but it has a natural quality to it, like it came later after the building. I don't know. I don't know what it's about. These scoops, these downward scoops, and you can see more of them. They're all through these, but you can see more of that right there. And a kid yesterday when I came here said, "Do you think those are dinosaur footprints?" And I said, I don't know. I don't think they are. They're sort of weird looking. They don't look like footprints. Maybe if this was softer material than it is now, maybe some animal came along and scooped this out. I don't know. It's possible that this is part of the building. They wanted it to look like this. I mean, if they're going to build these knobby features, these bumps, just put a lot of time and energy into doing that, maybe they wanted this to be like this. I mean, they're already mysterious, they're already bizarre. Maybe they wanted to make them more bizarre to us, not to them. To them, they had reasons for everything they were doing. But here's another scooping area, but it's a different kind of scooping than we've seen before. I don't know. But they built this. This is consciously created, so what you see is what you get. Now, there is a little bit of erosion, right? It weathers gray, but underneath the gray, if it chips off, it's a little bit white. So this is gypsum. The geologists might call this limestone. Okay, whatever. So, there you have it. You got these big knobby features. I think it might be breaking. I think they're trying to break floodwater. I'm not really sure though. Please leave your opinions about the true ancients building in comments below. Any comments that say this is geology, well, that's fine. I'll leave those there. I don't mind. But here's another seam. You can see the seam, right? La-da-dee-dee. I'll just document it. Do. Totally integral, totally strong, joining two sections together, not fracturing. There's no sense of fracturing at all. No sense of breaking apart. These are super strong. They lasted millennia. They lasted more than millennia. Presumably they've been here for billions of years, but here they are. And they're very rough on the outside, so the true ancients who built the continents wanted them to be rough. So I think they're probably something to do with breaking the water. There's another seam right there, asymmetrical sectioning. Otherwise we would have seen it. If all the sections that they built were symmetrical, the same size, the same shape, we would have seen it. So you see the line, the seam, totally integral, okay? So gorgeous, right? And we've got a little bit of scum and pond there, but otherwise it's quite a beautiful feature, this little round area, right? Nice. Well done, true ancients. Nothing to do with natural geology, absolutely nothing. The only natural geological feature that we see is erosion. So little by little it's being eroded. And it creates soil, little by little, but this is super strong. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to insert a Google Maps image that shows the lines that go through, these long diagonal lines that go through it. In between, because from down here you can't see the structure, the diagonal structure of the lines that go in between these. You can't see it at all, but from the Google Maps, you can see that. So I'm going to insert that here. We're just going to follow this seam in the true ancients concrete. Inch by inch, little by little. It's not perfectly straight. Oh my gosh, it must be natural then. No, they're doing asymmetrical sectioning, different sizes of sections, different shapes of sections. Now I'm going to do my signature move. Because as you can see, we've got a side here that's a regular side in what is supposed to be sedimentary material. What's this regular side doing in sedimentary material? How did this vertical side, right? Vertical, see my hand? It's hard to exit the matrix. You've been mind controlled your whole life, so have I. It takes an extraordinary circumstance or an extraordinary will to exit the matrix, and exiting the geology matrix is just one matrix to exit. See my hand? It's vertical. How's nature making a vertical feature right here? Where did this line come from? Geology has only one way to talk about this, and that's to call it a fracture. Is it fracturing apart though? Does that look like it's fracturing apart? I'm just asking you geologists or science people. Or if you use your eyes and your brain, concept, together, do you come to the conclusion that this is a seam joining these sections of concrete together? Is that your conclusion? And as this seam goes, it joins another seam right here. Travels along. Oh, but there's another seam here. And this travels along. Let's follow this one. I don't want to bore you, but you know, the earth was built, so the seam travels along. Oh, it kind of does a dog leg. Actually, there's two right here. One there. And one there. So they go along. Ah, the one on the right takes precedence. Got it. All the way down. So you've got two sections. Let's follow it back, just so we're clear. There's the seam. Totally integral. Does a dog leg here. Boop, right over here. It's so integral, it doesn't really matter where it is. It doesn't matter to them. They're just joining their stuff together so it'll last billions of years. They don't want to do this twice. Why should they? And it's really, really integral, and then kind of disappears. It's so integral before it joins. Those are the two lines. This line, this seam, and this seam. Let's do the signature move again. What the fuck is this vertical, regular-sided feature doing here? Please tell me. You can't, using the geology paradigm. It can only be explained by the terraforming, that is the building of the continents theory. The continental terraforming theory explains the evidence. It incorporates the evidence. Geology ignores the evidence. Do you understand? I'm trying to break out of the matrix. I know you're resisting. I get it. I get it. It's hard to change your mind. I get it. I get it. Yeah, beautiful features. Another seam in ancient concrete. This one does a cute curl there. And then kind of goes along here. Boopity boop. And then there's this one. I'll just do my signature move again. What's that doing there? This is sedimentary material. Sometimes they leave a non-flush feature, all right? If it was flush, it would go straight across, but it doesn't. It's going along here, and then suddenly, boom. And I've seen this many times, and I've done this many times in the videos to show you, to slowly break you out of the geology matrix. Oh look, so many seams, but nobody notices them. And now that I've made a video of them, no one will care. Why? They got other things to do. They don't care about the origins of their planet. Why should they? There's porn to watch. There's all sorts of things to do. Why did they do that? I have no idea. I didn't get the memo that the ancients... I didn't get the memo that the ancients, the true ancients, wrote to themselves, saying, let's leave some non-flush areas. Now here's an interesting feature. We're just going to document it. This is, we see one vertical seam here joining those together, right? And you can see it sort of travel up. You can barely see that, right? It's traveling up. And then behind it you see an open seam. It's an open seam. So the seam came apart. It's not a fracture or a crack. It's an open seam. It came apart. It's a seam that came apart, and I call those open seams. You can call it whatever you want. All we have to do is open our eyes and we see the story of this area. See the seam? Starts right there. Little bit of a dog leg there. Boom. This has lasted millions or billions of years, so well done. Well done, true ancients who built the continents. Signature move. Just patting this non-flush bit that comes out above their seams in their concrete, in their durable concrete. They wanted these features to last, okay? Now this seam meets this seam, right? Let's follow this seam. See where this goes. La-da-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. No fracturing. There's no sense of this breaking apart. It's just totally integral, totally strong after millions or billions of years. Wow, well done. All the way, one section on the left, one section on the right, okay? For this massive thing. Interesting that they would build it in sections, right? Very, very interesting. Yeah, all these are built in sections. They didn't have to do that. They could have built them. Here's another. Here's another one that kind of loops to the left, and then dog legs to the right. See? So they built in sections, but no one knows why. Oh, and here's a couple of heart-shaped scoop marks. I don't know if they're, as I said, I don't know if they're erosive features or if they were built as part of the objects. Hard to say. Let's end on the heart-shaped scoop mark, shall we? Okay? We'll call those hearts. They also look like other things, but call those hearts. Oh, and here's some other scoop marks. It feels integral to the structure of these bumps, but it might be erosion. It'd be interesting to find out. One more mystery. Oh, and there's another vertical seam through what's supposed to be sedimentary material. Oh, I wonder how that happened. Well, it's not sedimentary material, it's concrete.